On October 17, Jensen Huang vented his frustrations at the 2025 Global Market Future Conference. NVIDIA's China business, which previously accounted for 95% of its revenue, has now dwindled to zero. This situation is rather perplexing. On one hand, AI is now the global narrative, NVIDIA's share price has skyrocketed, and Jensen Huang is being hailed as a deity, treated like a touring superstar wherever he goes. On the other hand, Jensen Huang is vehemently lamenting that NVIDIA's market share in China has plummeted from 95% to virtually zero. China, home to approximately 50% of the world's AI researchers, is one of NVIDIA's largest markets. Huang's tone transcends mere complaint, it's tinged with genuine concern. Admitting publicly that he's losing such a crucial market is painful, but his core point is this: harming China may ultimately inflict far greater damage on America itself. He professes utter incomprehension as to why those in power, namely, the occupant of the White House, Mr. Trump, would pursue a strategy of inflicting 800 points of damage on others while suffering 1,000 points of self-inflicted harm. Is this a lament over business losses, or a geopolitical showdown? I believe it is neither. Behind Jensen Huang's near-failing report card lies a technological war that many of us have failed to comprehend. To grasp today's developments, we must first examine how NVIDIA secured its 95% market share. This dominance wasn't seized overnight, but built over nearly 2 decades. We first became aware of NVIDIA because gaming required its graphics cards. Back then, building a PC meant the GeForce series was the ultimate dream. Yet intriguingly, NVIDIA quietly developed something unnoticed, a platform called CUDA. Put simply, this enabled graphics cards to perform complex computations beyond gaming. Initially, no one understood its potential. Then Bitcoin exploded in popularity, and everyone realized NVIDIA cards were absurdly efficient for mining. Later, with the AI boom, scientists worldwide suddenly discovered this technology was an absolute godsend for training AI models. You see, while everyone was still fussing over gaming graphics, NVIDIA had already transformed its chips into the computational foundation of the future. It wasn't just selling hardware, it was defining standards. To pursue AI, one inevitably turns to its most versatile CUDA, most powerful chips, and most mature ecosystem. Globally, virtually everyone has no alternative. This strategy made NVIDIA unstoppable in China, until a single ban ended the game. America's export controls on high-end AI chips to China aren't merely market competition, they're a physical disconnection. Overnight, NVIDIA's most advanced chips became off-limits to China. Why the supply cutoff? America's intent is starkly clear: to forcibly reset China's technological ecosystem to zero. Naturally, Chinese firms responded swiftly to the NVIDIA blockade. Technical minutiae are beside the point, the capital markets reaction speaks volumes. Cambricon Technologies Corporation Limited has now become China's top-performing stock. What exactly is Jensen worried about? Jensen's public lament that America is shooting itself in the foot reveals at least 3 layers of logic, each more stinging than the last. The first layer concerns the market. Why did domestic AI companies rely on NVIDIA before the ban? Because it was convenient. Buy it, use it. China's homegrown chips? For a long time, their performance genuinely lagged behind NVIDIA's, and their ecosystem was weak. But now the situation has changed. With Trump's decree, it's no longer a matter of preference, it's simply unavailable. This has forcibly created a massive protected zone for domestic chips. Those homegrown backup options that previously scored 60 or even 50 points have suddenly become the only choice. For companies like Huawei, this is a golden opportunity. They no longer need to engage in close combat with a perfect scoring opponent. Instead, they find themselves in a fenced-off arena facing a crowd of customers desperate for solutions. It's akin to a boxing champion suddenly announcing they'll never fight in Asia again. The consequence? Local Asian boxers, however less skilled, gained opportunities to step into the ring, win fights, and accumulate experience. Ultimately, they might even train a new champion. Jensen understood this principle better than anyone. What he witnessed wasn't merely the loss of billions in orders. He saw America using its own policies to hand-feed China a future rival capable of overturning the entire table. The second layer concerns mindset. The American side fears losing its position as the global technology leader, hence the "if I can't have it, neither can you" approach, seeking to maintain dominance through chokehold tactics. But this strategy has triggered a deeper-seated emotion in the Chinese market: survival anxiety. Consider an AI company that has invested heavily in building a computing center, only to face the prospect of it becoming scrap metal because it cannot procure new chips. That sense of having one's lifeline held by another will instantly sober up the entire industry. This anxiety will transform into a formidable force, propelling capital, talent, markets, and policies all towards a single objective: developing China's own high-end chips. This ceases to be a commercial matter; it becomes a matter of survival. When an endeavor shifts from "we aspire to succeed" to "we must succeed," the energy unleashed is entirely different. The third layer concerns the broader picture. For decades, we have lived within the narrative of globalization. The default arrangement was this: you manufacture chips, I build phones, he develops software, together we expand the pie and all profit. NVIDIA's reset represents a massive crack in this narrative. It signifies technology's transformation from a tool of global cooperation into a wall of national rivalry. We may be witnessing the birth of two parallel tracks, one based on the American technology stack, the other an autonomous ecosystem China is striving to build. This isn't mere decoupling, but the dawn of a new internal cycle, a closed loop where everything from chips to software to applications remains firmly within one's own grasp. Don't underestimate the significance of this shift; it may well determine the landscape of international competition for decades to come. Jensen seeks to prolong America's life. Viewing these three layers together, Jensen's warning is not mere lamentation. He is sounding the alarm. His concern is not lost market share, but unease over a future where America is nurturing a tiger that will devour it. From Jensen's perspective, he sees clearly: technological blockades may appear as daggers in the short term, but in the long run they act as catalysts. Trump may embargo certain chips, but you cannot halt the dissemination of knowledge, nor stem the resolve of a vast market fighting for survival. America sought to lock the gate at the summit, barring China's ascent. Instead, it has compelled China to carve out an entirely new path from the foothills. What happens once this path is carved through? This is what truly sends shivers down American spines. The future world may well feature not one unified AI standard, but two or even multiple parallel AI ecosystems. One led by NVIDIA, Google, OpenAI, the other by Huawei, Baidu, Alibaba. Their relationship might resemble that between iOS and Android. NVIDIA will focus more on serving its elite allies at the apex of the pyramid. Once China's AI industrial chain matures, its advantages, enormous market scale and cost efficiency, could enable it to provide highly cost-effective AI infrastructure globally, targeting markets neglected by the United States. At that point, when hardware disparities are leveled, the true battleground will no longer be about whose hammer is harder, but whose hammer can build the most splendid houses. The competitive focus will shift entirely from computational power to AI applications and business models. In this regard, China's vast application scenarios, immense market potential, and sheer population size offer innate advantages. This, perhaps, is what Jensen truly wished to convey but could not state explicitly. Jensen's zero-mark answer sheet is not a full stop, but a beginning. Like a mirror, it reflects both the fragility of the old order and a new path brimming with uncertainty, yet potentially rich with opportunity. On one side of the mirror lies Jensen Huang's apprehension, on the other, China's tech sector forced into self-reliance. Personally, I find this quite positive. Reset to zero? So be it. Only by returning to zero can true independence and self-reliance truly take root. What do you think, everyone?